Hi everyone, welcome to another build of Vue.js using Socket.io, and in this build we will build a Tic Tac Toe game from scratch. The interesting part is after building the game we will implement a multiplayer feature. So as you can see that we have this game opened in two tabs, one is in incognito and one is there, and you can play with each other using this. So if I will try, so let me give you a demo of this app. So first let's give a cross here, and you can see that once you put the cross here, it is appeared into the second player's screen. Now if the second player gives O, and you can see this player also got the O. Now we'll give X here, and if we give O here and let's give an X here, and you can see that winner is X. It is displayed in both screen. So this is done by Socket.js, and the event from the client will be sent to the server, and that will be upgraded into the second client, which is amazing, right? So you will build this entire game from scratch. You will learn how to display this grid into the screen, how do the WebSockets work, and you will build the entire thing from scratch. So this is going to be a very interesting build. You'll learn about WebSocket, you'll learn about how to render the grid into the screen, how to manage the state, how to reset the game, and everything. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's first create a project. We can first make a folder, Tic Tac Toe. And here we will first make a folder which will be server. So we'll make the server later, and let's make one more, and let's create a Vue project. Vue create Tic Tac Toe. We will select Vue 3, the default. So let's open this project into editor. So as you can see, we have two folders. One is the server, which is now empty. We'll create the server for Socket.js later, and we have our Vue.js project here. So now it is a blank project. So let's close the incognito, because we will first create the Tic Tac Toe game for a single player, and then we'll extend it to multiplayer. We'll do it step by step. So let's get started, and let's close the demo, and let's run this code. npm cd Tic Tac Toe, npm run serve. So now you can see that we have a blank page, we have a empty Vue.js project. So let's go to the source file, source folder, go to the app.vue, and we will just delete the hello world component from here to make it a blank page. And let's delete the image and the hello world, and let's make it a Tic Tac Toe and delete the hello world component. So now we have a blank page with it just has the Tic Tac Toe. So first we'll just make the grid. So I am very lazy, I won't make the grid myself. I'll just copy some CSS that you can also copy. So first I will make a div container, and here I will just copy, move the Tic Tac Toe to here, and we will have something called play area. Our board will be placed in this play area. And let's display our grid. So what we can do, we can display 9 blocks. We can give ID. You can give a class block. And we'll give ID for each block. And we'll make block like this, block 1, block 2. We will make 8 blocks. You can also do it programmatically, but I'll just do it like this. Seven, 8. So we have 8 blocks. And let's now give some CSS in the blocks. So this CSS will just copy from a tutorial that I found in the dev2. Thank you for this tutorial. Our goal is not to make the CSS from the scratch. Our main goal is to build the game logic and to implement the Socket.js, that part. So thank you, Ayushman, for providing us the CSS. So we'll just copy this CSS. So he has done a nice job with the CSS. So we can find the CSS here. I'll provide the link of this tutorial here, and I'll just copy the CSS from here, and it should work. Too lazy to do the CSS. If you want, you can go through the tutorial and understand the CSS. So now let's see, and yeah, you can see that TikTok is rendering. So that's good enough for now. And you can see that if you put a X, it's also displaying nicely, X and O. So that's it. for displaying the grid. You can check the CSS here. It's not very difficult. It's just there is a block, there is some display flex and everything. So yeah, you can understand the CSS. And let's move on. Let's implement the game logic first. So what we'll do, first we have to see that when you click one element, we have to display X or O, right? So the thing is, how would we display the X and O's like this? So what we can do, we can, and which element will be displayed. So we can do one thing, we can create a section data where we can define a variable content, and we can display the X and O based on that array, and we can manipulate that array dynamically and it will be displayed. So what we can do is we can make a data section here, and we can return you can have an array of content. It will have 8 elements. So first we will make it all empty string. So you can make it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We'll display this content here. So instead of X and O, we can display content 0, content 1, content 2, content 3, content 4, content 5, content 6, content 7 and content 8. So now if you make it, suppose X and O, it will be displayed like this. So you can see that X and O is displayed accordingly. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have these 8 blocks, and you can see that 8 things are displayed. Pretty easy, right? Now what you have to do, so when you click this one, either we have to make it X or O, right? So that is very easy to do that. So what we can do is we can have a variable called turn. And initially let's set it true. So if turn is true, we can make it X. If turn is false, we can make it O. And here for every element we can have a event at the rate of click, and we can make it a draw. And let's pass the index here. So we'll pass index 0 here, and here we will pass it 1, pass it 2, pass it 3, pass it 4, pass it 5, pass it 6, pass it 7 and pass it 8. Let's make it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course you can make a loop and also make this, so it's fine. It's good for understanding this way, but feel free to make it a function and like loop through 0 to 8 and display these blocks dynamically. But yeah, let's go ahead and make it. It's not a big deal. So we'll declare methods, and we'll declare draw, and we'll pass the index. So what you can do is, so if this dot turn then we'll display, we'll make the content and of this index as x, because if turn is positive, is true, then mark as x or mark as O, else it will be O. And we have to then switch the turn to turn, we have to make the turn. If it is true, then we have to make it false. If it is false, we have to make it true. So we can do it. So at the end we can make it this turn equal to not this dot turn. Pretty easy, right? So now what? So if we refresh the page here, and let's first make everything as empty. So now if you click, it will be first X, and the second click will be O, the third click will be X, the fourth one will be O, fifth one will be X, sixth one will be O, seventh one will be X, eighth one will be O, ninth one will be X. Pretty simple, right? I hope you are following the tutorial and this part is clear to you. So now what you have to do is we have to calculate if the game has been owned by some of the player. So before drawing it, we have to make sure that after drawing it, we have to make sure that if the move has resulted in a victory, then we make the game as over and we declare the player who won, we display it in the below. So let's work on that part now. So first we will declare a variable is over, and let's first make it a false, and we have to make some CSS here. We'll copy the same CSS from the tutorial. We'll give an ID equal to winner, and we'll display it if the game is over, and we'll display winner is, and we have to make a variable winner. So we'll display the winner here. So let's create this variable here, winner. So first it will be null, and okay, so let's try to make it. Let's see if we make it true, we'll see the winner is something. Okay, so let's first make it false. Cool. So let's try to implement the logic so the game is win or lost. What we can do is we can make a function calculate winner, and we have to see like, so it is 0 index, so 0 1 2, so like 0, and so if 0 1 and 2, these three indexes are not empty by the same symbol like X or O, then we have to declare that it's a winner, right? So we can define an array of conditions which can result in winning. So we can declare an array winning conditions So first we will cover the rows. It will be 0, 1 and 2. So 0, 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, right? So you can make it rows first. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Now we'll select the columns. It will be 0, 1, 2. If we refresh it, let's use something console.log. Just to remove the warning. So now we have 0, 1. So if you have this one, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So 0, 3 and 6 will be a winning condition, right? So we can make 0, 3, 6, and similarly we will have 1, 4, 7 and 2, 5, 8. 2, 5, 8. It will be 1, 4, 7 and 2, 5, 8. So 0, 3, 6, 1, 4, 7 and 2, 5 and 8. So these are columns, and let's put a comma here, and we'll also have diagonals. Which will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 4 and 8. So 0, 4, 8. And we'll also have the reverse. So 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5 and 6. 2, 4 and 6. So these are the winning conditions. So 0 like this. We'll test it, so don't worry. We'll see if this winning or not. So what we can do is we can loop over the array. So let I equal to 0, I less than winning conditions dot length I plus plus. So let first index will be winning conditions I 0, and second index and third index. Third index will be 2 and second index will be index of 1. Second, so if this dot content first index equal to this dot content second index and this dot content first index equal to this dot content dot like third index. We have to make sure that the data is not empty. It's either X or O. So we have to also mention this dot content and first index is not empty string. Then we return. Then we make the variable this dot is over equal to true, and this dot is winner will be this dot content first index. So it means that if in those winning conditions, if it is occupied by the same X or O, then we will declare that is over is true and winner is the winner. And so we have to use this function after every click, right? So we can trigger this function here, this dot calculate winner, let's debug this function. Okay, the function is not defined. Calculate winner. Oh, sorry. So we have made a mistake. It should be inside here, not outside. So silly bug, but a very big bug. So this method should be inside the methods, and I put it outside there so that it wasn't working. So now let's try it again. So 0 1 0, and let's put 0, and you can see winner is X, and let's refresh it and let's see if it in the set line. So yeah, you can see winner is X, and let's check like this one. So first and this, then this, then this, and yeah, you can see winner is X. And let's also make sure that O is winning. So this and this and this and this and this and this. So winner is O. So everything's working fine. And let's delete this console log here, and let's delete it here. So now we have to do one thing. We have to reset the board, right? So when someone is winning, we have to reset the board. So for that, we will create one more button. So at the click, reset board, and v if is over, so reset board. Let's declare this method here. Inside methods, calculate winners, and let's declare here reset board. So this one will be pretty simple. We have to make all the content as empty string. So for let I equal to 0, I less than equal to 8, I plus plus, this dot content I will be empty string, and this dot is over will be set to false, and this dot winner will be set to null. We are resetting all the values. So let's see if it works. And this, and when it's X, and let's reset the board. Yeah, and the board is reset. Amazing, right? And we have to do one thing. We have to also make sure that we have a tie thing. So 0x, suppose we have this. So I think this will be it, I guess. Yes, so in this case we have to also display the reset board and display that this game is tie. So we can declare a variable is tie. You can make it as false, and we have to display the reset board if it is over or if it is tie. So let's now calculate how to calculate the tie. So calculate tie. So if there is even one empty space in the board, then it's not tie, right? We'll check. So we'll check if there is an empty tile in the board. So let I equal to 0 to I less than equal to 8, I plus plus. If this dot content I equal to empty string, then we just return, because the board is not tie. Or else this dot is tie will be true, and when you are resetting the board, we have to make this as false, equal to false, and we have to display a message that the game is tied. So we can just, like this, we can also have h2 and if is tie, game is tie. Oh, we have to also call this function winner, calculate tie, so let's see. So X O X O X O X O X O. Yeah, so the game is tied and it's at the board. So yeah, so the game is working fine right now. We will integrate Socket.js, so we can play from two. You can play the game from two browser, and when in one browser you click the X, it should be displayed in the other browsers, and like that. So for that, what we will do is we will first in the server we'll create a file server.js, and let's open the documentation of Socket.js. The idea is that we have two clients. So when the one client one click X, then it will send the event to the browser, and the browser will broadcast the event to the other client which is connected, and when the other client makes O, it will broadcast to the server again, and then it will again send this to the first client, and the game will be played like this. So this will be interesting application of the socket.io, and I hope that you learn a lot how the socket works, how can you make your own cool application using socket.io. This will be a really nice exercise for that. So for that we will do one thing. First we can go to the server section, and we can go to the installation, and first we will go to the server, and we can do npm init. We can make it server, version is 0, description is this, entry point is this, and this. So we can just make it yes. So now we have a package JSON, and we have server, and we can install socket.io here. And let's go to the initialization. So you can type it here, not a big deal. Constant server equal to require http dot create server, and constant io will be require socket.io, then we'll pass server, and we'll pass an argument that we have to give permission for the course, so that our Vue application in the 8080 port can talk to the server. So for that we need to give a course configuration. So it will be origin will be http localhost 8080, and methods will be get and post. These two methods will be allowed. And now io dot on, so you can see the documentation of the event. So the server side can make an event on connection, and it can emit hello world, and on the client side it can receive the hello, and it will print the world. So let's try this one first and let's see if it works. So io on connection, so we will have the socket, and so client, so socket dot emit, and you can see hello and world. So, and in the client side I have to listen to this hello event, and it will send argument of world and will display it. And we have to do one more step. We have to make the server dot listen and 3000 port. So this is the server part. That's it. So we can do node clear it and node server.js. So it's running now. And now let's go to the Vue.js and integrate the client side here. So what we can do is we can go to app.vue, and here we have to integrate this client socket io.client. So we can this npm I socket. We have to install the socket client for Vue.js, and we can make it client socket io client. So it will be installed. Okay. So now what I will do is we will in the script section we'll import io from socket io client, and we'll declare a variable constant socket which will talk with our server. So it will be io http localhost 3000. So now our socket can talk with our server, and we can we'll have a created hook, and we will listen to our socket in this created hook. You can read more about the created hook from the Vue.js documentation. So it will be socket.io, and you listen to the event that we are emitting from the server, and we'll see that if we are receiving it or not. So it will be hello message, and console.log received in Vue message. So let's see if it works. Let's npm num server. So to summarize, we are sending in the server.js hello, and world, and we should receive the hello in the client side and the message world. So we should display received in view world. So let's see if it works. So there is an error, socket.io is not a function. So it's not on, it's not io, it's on, socket.on. And as you can see that it is received in view world. Amazing, right? So we can test it with some other message. YouTube tutorial, and let's see what we will receive here. Start the server again, and you can see that we have received instantly the Vue YouTube tutorial. Amazing, right? So now the interesting part will be we have to send. So when you click like here, we have to send the index to the server, and then server will broadcast it to other client, and the client also can click O and it will send its index and it will be updated automatically. So let's do that. So first, from the client we'll talk to the server first. So what we can do is we'll make a event in the draw. So we will send an event to socket.io. Like as the server is talking to the client, the client can also talk to the server, because it's a bidirectional communication. So as you can see that the server side is talking and client side is receiving, and also the client side can also emit and server side can receive. So what we'll do, we'll emit from the client side the index. So what we'll do is we will do something like socket.emit, and you can send play, and we will set the index at which we have we just draw. So we'll just send this event to the server, and server will receive this one. So after emitting, we can also socket dot on. So when you get the event play, and you will get the index. So when you get the index, so you'll do something like that. We'll console log it first, and let's see if we are receiving the message. Console log played. Let's say server received the index, and save it, and first and restart it. We got some error, and let's restart it. And when you click something, let's see if we receive the message in the server. So you can see that we received the index 1, we received the index 7, we received index 8. Okay, which is amazing, right? So now the client can talk to the server, and now the server will broadcast this index to the other client, except this client, right? Because this client, so for that we can see the documentation of broadcasting event. So we'll send to all the connected client except the sender. So we can do it by socket broadcast.emit. So we can use that. So socket dot broadcast.emit, and we will emit a play event, and we'll send the index. So now the thing that will be interesting will be to receive the event. And now we'll open one incognito tab so that we can see that it's working fine. So let's open an incognito tab here, and let's open the project here. We don't have enough space, so let's make it a bit smaller. Tic Tac Toe, Tic Tac Toe. Let's move it like this, and let's also inspect it. Okay, so now this also received from the YouTube tutorial, and here, so when we receive the message, we have to draw it, right? So we can do something like, so socket on hello, so we don't need to have listen to hello anymore. We can listen to the play, and we can receive the index. Index, and let's print it, index. So now let's see. So first we'll have, let's refresh the both client here. So now we can click here this, and it received it. I think we have to restart the server first. We can use Node.js also to restart the server, but for now it's fine. So let's refresh the page, and let's click it here, and you can see that receive index 0 in this other client. And now if we click 8 here, now you can see that the other browser received index 8, and let's click O, and you can see that index 4 has received O. So now from that, it's very easy. From now in the app.vue, what we can do is we can just call the draw function, and we can just pass the index here, and that will be all. So both are refreshed. So now let's click. Wow, what happened? Okay, so I think we are, so this is receiving done, this is receiving this one. So I think we're broadcasting to both one. So this is creating some bug. So when you are created received index, oh, so here when you are drawing it, we are emitting again, right? So like we are receiving it, then we are emitting it again. So maybe what we can do is we can create two events. So when we are the event is sending from here, we can make it play send, and we can receive this as send. So the thing is, like, it is sending it to the server, and the server is sending it to the client, and when it is drawing, it's again sending it back, right? So what we can do is so from the server, from the client, we are sending on message to the server. So from the server, we are sending it back to the other client, but when it is drawing it there, it is sending it again. So what we can do is we can not send the emit again in case of that. So we can pass a flag that, so like draw from other, and if this flag is true, then we don't emit the socket. If we have this one, then we don't send it, otherwise we send it. So draw, and let's make it true, and let's make it play again, and let's make it play, and it's also play. So now let's again start it, but I'm not sure if you can pass optional argument in Node.js, but maybe you can. Let's see. So we send it here. If not, drop from other, then send it. So the same problem. Is true, and so false. So when you click this drop from other, from this event, we'll send it there, we'll emit it, and here it is true, so we won't emit it here, right? That's the idea. So let's start it again. And let's refresh. So when we send it something here, yes, so now you can see that it's working and it is not creating the event again. And now when I click it here, oh, now it is, see, it is now sending it back, and now it will send this event here, and we can see that X is here, and now we can try to play with O. We can see that O is here. Now we send play with X here, and X is here, and let's lose it first. So O is here, and if X plays here, then X wins, you know. So that is amazing, right? So that's what we wanted. So reset board. So what you can do also, that when you reset boot, we can send a emit event and it will reset all the both boards. You can have it exercise. So now let's try O, and let's try to play once again and draw X and play it here O, then here is X, then player O, then player X, then player O, then player X, then player O, and then player X. So the game is tied in both the boards. So to summarize, we are sending on. So when we are clicking it, we are sending an event play, and the server is receiving it, and it is broadcasting to all the client except the client which sent the message, and the other client will receive it here, and it will try to draw it again, but it will send one parameter that draw from other is true. So when in this event, so that we don't send the event to the server again, so that we don't have the like we have these cyclic calls. So from client to server, then client to server, again and again and again. We can stop that. I hope this is clear to you. If it is not clear to you, then write a comment in the YouTube and I'll try to get back to you. I hope you understood something from this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed how to work with Vue.js and Socket.js. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel so that you can get regular updates of my channel. This is the beginner tutorial for Vue.js and Socket.io, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day. Bye.